Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in the world right now and when you're tuning in. You'll notice that the title for today is Working from the Invisible. And while I'm gonna take a few minutes here and allow Instagram to do its thing and let people know that we're live, but I'd also like to add to the title Working and Living from the Invisible. Now, look, hey, Sandy, good to see you. I know this sounds a little mystical, and life is incredibly mystical and magical, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. You know, quantum physics even tells us that you are a magical being. And let me just throw this out while we're waiting for people to roll in. The single most accepted principle in quantum physics of how, and remember, quantum physics are the laws of how this entire universe works. And the single most accepted principle of quantum physics is what's called the observer effect. And the observer effect basically states, quite simply, you get what you're looking for. You know, David Bohm, award-winning, Nobel Prize-winning physicist, colleague of Einstein, stated, you cannot separate the observer from that which is observed. What that means is that you cannot differentiate, not at the quantum level, of between you and your neighbor. You cannot differentiate, not at the quantum level, between you and the economy. You cannot differentiate between you and the government. Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? Especially in today's world. You cannot differentiate between you and anything. You and a tree, you and a dog, you and any part of nature. Welcome to spring, by the way. Because according to quantum physics, you cannot separate the observer from that which is observed. And the observer effect states you get what you're looking for. If you're looking for opportunities, you'll find opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities in today's world. And I know we live in turbulent times. And there's plenty of challenges and plenty of difficulties. What are you looking for? Because what you're giving attention to must grow. Now, that's just me riffing for a moment because I hadn't planned on talking about that today. What I really want to talk about, but it dovetails in, is working and living from the invisible. Because most people live from the visible. Most people live from sight versus vision. Let me give you a definition, and you might want to write this down, between the difference between sight and vision. You ready? Sight is seeing with the eyes. So you look at something in the external world, you look at what the economy's doing, you look at what gas prices are doing, you look at what the government's doing, you look at what, all the policies are doing, and so on and so on and so on. You look at what grocery prices are doing, and you live from sight. That's living from the visible. And that's really seductive. And it's very easy to do, even when you teach this stuff. You with me on this? But the reality is, and physics tells us and backs us up. Thank you, Kunjul. Hopefully I said that right. Sight means to see with the eyes. That's right. And that's living from the visible. What I'm going to recommend that you do, and this is the most difficult thing you'll ever do, or at least one of the most difficult things you'll ever do, is to live from the invisible. Because I wanted to differentiate between sight and vision. Sight is seen with the eyes. Vision, on the other hand, is different. Vision is seeing through the eyes. Do you get the difference? Vision is on the inside. Sight is on the outside. Now, this is not a new concept. Maybe I'm just putting it into different terminology than what you've heard before. But Most people live from the visible. They look at their bank account. They look at their relationship. They look at the world and what's going on. And let's face it, the world is in great transition right now. But let me also remind you of something I've given you before, is that every significant breakthrough is always preceded, or what comes before that breakthrough is a breakdown. You follow me on this? Because you can't break through until something breaks down. Nothing new can emerge if there's not space for it to emerge. And so you have to allow the time, you have to let go now and allow the space for something new to emerge. And until you do this, nothing new can come in because there's no space for it to come in. And so right now we're going through this great breakdown. And breakdowns are tough. They're tough for me too. And please don't think that my life is all roses and rainbows. It's not. It's tough times for all of us. And yet what you must do to become a true magician. And what does magic mean? Magic is defined as the ability to create willful change in the fabric of your universe, both spiritually and materially. Would you like to have more magic in your life? Most people would. If your answer is yes, then you've got to develop some discipline. You've got to develop some practices. You've got to do some things differently than what most people do. I'm trying to wave at you, Abe, but it's not working. So, hello, glad you're here. Now, the invisible creates the visible. And again, I know that sounds really mystical, and I'm using a lot of mystical terms here, but life is mystical. Life is magical. If you think you have it figured out, you need to think again, because most of us haven't got one iota of a clue of how this universe really works. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. The invisible always creates the visible. Let's go back to science, quantum physics. What's the basic building block of this entire universe? Well, if you studied science at all, you know it's the atom. The atom comes together, creates molecules, molecules create cells, cells create organs, organs create organisms, and that's how we go up the food chain. And so the atom is the basic building block, and it goes deeper than that, but the atom is the first aggregate or the most basic building block of all of creation. Every single thing in this universe, your house, your car, your body, your business, your bank account, is comprised of atoms. And those atoms are comprised of energy and so on and so forth. You've heard me talk about this before. But no scientist has ever seen an atom. Never. You can't see an atom. They postulate atoms, but you can't. An atom is not visible, and yet it's the basic building block of every single thing in creation. Now that's science. Let's go back to this necklace, for instance, that I have on. This is an ankh, which is the key of life. The Egyptians believed it was the symbol of eternal life. And where'd that come from? It's made out of gold, and the chain is made out of gold. Where did that come from? Did it come from the materials? No. Did it come from the manufacturer? No. Did it come from the distributor? No. Did it come from the jewelry store? No, it didn't. It was given to me as a gift by my wife, Bersabeh. But where did it come from? If you trace it all the way back, were there materials involved? Yes. Were there distributions involved? Yes. Were there jewelry stores involved? Yes. Was there a retail transaction? Yes. But did any of those things create it? No. You go back to the origins, and where did it originate? It originated in the idea in my wife Bersabeh's mind. I want to get my husband a key of life, a symbol of eternal life from the Egyptian mythology, because she knows I've studied Egyptian mythology, and it's an amazing gift. And that's what she gave to me because she had the idea first. Now, did she create that idea? No, you could trace it back even further. How did she even get that idea? Well, because the Egyptians documented it in their temples. Did it come from the temple? No. Did it come from this? No. Did it come from all the way back? What you'll find, and I hope you follow me on this, is that every single thing starts as an idea or a feeling. You know, maybe for Bersabeh, she had a feeling. I feel like I want to give my husband something amazing for his birthday. I believe it was. She gave it to me for. It might have been Christmas, but nonetheless, I want to give him. I want to feel like I'm giving him an amazing gift that he'll appreciate. And so the feeling, and then there was an idea. Well, maybe I'll get an ankh. And then what happened? She went out. She started to look for them. She went to retail stores. She got the money together. On and on and on. And pretty soon, it was in a box and it was wrapped up. And I opened it. And it was an amazing gift. And now I'm wearing it. But it didn't start as gold. It started as an idea. Are you with me on this? And that idea is invisible. And so let me remind you to never, ever, ever underestimate the power of an idea. How many ideas do you have every single day? Infinite. You can't even measure the amount of ideas you have every single day. One idea in my history, in my life, has made me millions of dollars. One idea has lost me millions of dollars too. So an idea has a tremendous amount of power because ideas either create feelings or feelings create ideas. They're close cousins and they interact very, very closely. We could talk about that on another day. But when you live from the invisible, then you will create the visible. You know, it states in the Bible, as a man thinketh in his heart. Well, how do you think in your heart? You think in your heart with feeling. And the heart has neurological capacity. There are literally brain cells in your heart. We know this now in modern science. But that's another conversation. As a man thinketh in his heart, or feels, so shall he be. Now, what's it telling you? Let's break it down. It's telling you to follow your feelings and think about your feelings and take action upon your feelings, and so shall it be. What do most people do? Because they don't live from vision versus sight. They live from sight versus vision. Are you tracking with me on this? I hope you're following this, because this is a life changer when you get it. Because most people deal from the visible versus the invisible. What are they? They don't, as a man thinketh in his heart, so shall he be. They are be then think people. As things be, so shall he think. That's not what it says. And yet how many times do you find yourself caught in that trap? I look at the external world, and I believe the external world is real, and I think it's more powerful than the internal world, and so consequently, I let it control my internal world. As things be, so shall I think and feel. Mastery is about as I think and feel, so shall it be. And there's never a time where that's more difficult to do than in challenging times. And there's never a time to practice this more powerfully than in challenging times. And so the life is offering you a huge opportunity right now. Are you taking advantage of it? Or are you becoming a victim of the external world? It's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you. And my challenge to you is to understand that the invisible creates the visible. And if this makes sense to you, then I won't take any more of your time here today, but I'm going to challenge you to live and to work from the invisible. As hard as that will be, but that's what mastery is all about. If mastery was easy, everybody would be masterful. If any of this makes sense to you, then we have a tremendous opportunity for you. Sandy's here today, and Sandy's going to be there. It's called Mental Alchemy. We have a 2-day online event, Mental Alchemy, live via Zoom, coming up April 2nd and 3rd. It's a week from this Saturday, Sunday, live on Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. And you will learn how to use your internal world. You will learn what keeps you and blocks you from dealing in the invisible and keeps you stuck in the visible. You will learn what keeps you and blocks you and limits you in your sight and keeps you from vision. And you'll learn how to break through all of those things. You'll learn how to master your mind and how to become an alchemist. And alchemy is about transmutation. Transmutation is about taking trash and turning it into treasure. All alchemy is mental alchemy. And so we'd love to have you join us. It's on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's 2 full days, very experiential. It's not me just talking like this. It's live. We can interact. You get to ask questions. You get to put into groups, and you get to do exercises, and you get a whole workbook. And we'd love to have you join us. All you got to do is go to mine and Bear's bio here on this page and click the drop-down menu, and upcoming events is one of the options on drop-down menu. Just click that and go to the upcoming events, scroll down to Mental Alchemy, and grab your seat. You'll be grateful when you do. There's never been a time in history where you need to get the cause right so the effects will follow. Does that make sense to you? I want to thank you for a couple of moments of your day. Just go to our bio. You got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Go to our bio, click on upcoming events, go to the landing page. We've got it discounted $100 right now, and we'd love to have you come join us and learn how to become a true alchemist in these turbulent times. God bless you. Lots of love to you, and we'll see you on April 2nd and 3rd. Have a masterful day.